Hello, everybody. I am Brownsville Gamer, also known as Aubrey, but I'm just going to leave it at that. And I am pissed all the way off. And I normally don't do these sort of rants unless I'm doing a show and, you know, I'm having a conversation with somebody and I feel like, yeah, maybe we can have like a little conversation slash debate um, online. But I feel like this time I have to just say what's on my mind. And I'm going to be flowing for a bit. And this is definitely going to be a rant. So if you got a few moments, care to listen and watch my TED Talk on I'm pissed off. And I'm pissed off about gaming right now, right? I'm very pissed off. And I'm going to tell you why I'm very pissed off. I'm very pissed off because I don't think people understand that human beings need to have hobbies, right? We are living in very stressful, very contentious times, to say the least. And you'll be surprised that a little care for people's mental health can go a very long way in terms of somebody's survival. And I'm saying all this because, as a person who has a very stressful job, and I imagine many of you have that same feeling because we're all adults, I imagine that when you go home, outside of taking care of your responsibilities, you're going to want to do things that gives you some level of joy, some level of entertainment. And everybody has their vices, right? Some like to travel, some like to eat out, some like to go to sports events, some like to listen to music, some like to go to art exhibits and galleries or do art, some people like to cook. Some people just like to sleep. Some people like to do various things that gives them pleasure, and that pleasure is necessary for their mental health. For me, I have many things that gives me pleasure, things that keeps me motivated, things that keeps my brain functioning, music. If you know me personally, I'm a huge music head. I collect a lot of records and stuff. And, that's one area that I have as like my leisure, right? I love to travel, right? I love football. I love baseball, right? You know me. I'm the host of the CFT. So essentially, there's that affinity to competitive sports, which leads to gaming. And this is where we are right now. It is May 29th, 2026. It is 6:49 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I am disgusted at the state of gaming. Why am I saying that? What I hold in my hand right now is a LED model of a Valve Steam Deck. Now, I had to wait about maybe 8 to 10 months from its initial release to buy this. Shoot, I'm trying to remember how old this is. If I look at the back of this thing, does it give me a year? If anyone knows the answer to when this was first released, I feel like the Steam the Steam Deck came out probably like 3, 4 years ago. And I'm gonna like move this off the screen because I'm gonna show you why I have this up. This is, by the way, an article that I want to show all of you so we can walk through why I'm angry. If you are a fan of the Steam Deck, yeah, you might want to think twice if you're thinking about a Steam machine. But I'm going to get there in a moment. The Steam Deck, by the way, for those that are unfamiliar, it is a portable device, pretty much a Linux operated device. You can put Windows on this, but it's primarily a Steam operating system where you can access all of your Steam games and you can play them locally, right? Or on the cloud or whichever style you want. I primarily use this as a device for retro games. So if you get RetroBot or RetroDeck or EmuDeck, I know EmuDeck for a fact. If you get EmuDeck, it's an application that allows you to get access to all the emulators necessary for you to run ROMs, so that way you can run games. Now, as a retro fan, this device was very essential to me because gaming is just screwed up, right? And with gaming being so screwed up, not many people are feeling the whole obligation to spend hundreds of dollars a year on AAA games. So people are relying on older games, right? Like the PlayStation 3, the PlayStation 2s, the original Xbox, all the way down to Atari, right? And so these consoles or these computer devices, however you want to spin it, unlocks an opportunity for gamers that are sick and tired of being nickeled and dimed by AAA companies to enjoy games that they're familiar with that they may already have copies to. Now, before you go on your high horse and talk shit about piracy, let me be very fucking clear. Piracy is not a problem in my eyes as long as so-called owners don't have ownership of their games. Let me be clear by this, right? We live in a state in modern gaming now where most people don't even have access to their games. Now, mind you, I just moved into a new home, so mind the appearance. Over time, my new office space is going to look better, right? But behind me, I have all these old games, right? These are some of my old games stretching from PlayStation 4, moving all the way down to OG Xbox, GameCube, PlayStation, Sega Dreamcast, Sega Saturn, some PSP stuff. And then I even have like older things from Genesis to Super NES and even some NES stuff. Now, I'm not saying this to like flaunt shit. That's not even the point. The point is that I care about physical medium, okay? In the same fashion that, yes, I have a smartphone and I have access to Spotify, sure, very convenient. But I also collect hundreds and hundreds of records. Why? For the same reason why I still own CDs. Why? Because I don't trust companies that are nickel and diming people, right, on things that we don't even have ownership for, right? Recently, like I think the night before last, or last night, it's a blur these days. I was just recently on that other guy's podcast, which, by the way, if you haven't known about him, that other guy photography on Instagram, you should check out his work. He's amazing. He's also a co-host for the CFT. We had a conversation about gaming yesterday. And I told that other guy that the Steam machine will be $1,100. And that other guy, if you watch that video, he low-key said cap. He didn't say it bluntly, but he didn't think it would be that much. Well, that other guy, evidence from Vice that says that Steam machine price might have been leaked and it's over $1,000. The Steam machine price might have been leaked in a recent update to the Valve's hardware reservation system, and it's thousands of dollars. So right now, the article suggests that something just got leaked out where the source code for how you can reserve access to consoles, like when you order online, it got leaked out. And if you look at the source code, it shows that the machine is assuming to be more than $1,000 in price based off of this line of code that we see here, right? So it's suggesting right here on line 1392 that there's going to be a thousands separator that you're going to need to establish when displaying the price. And this assumes that we're looking at euro currency. So for those that are in Europe, if you're buying it there, if it's at least $1,000, right? So we can already take it out of the, oh, there's a risk that's going to be $1,000 or less. Bullshit. That's not going to happen. Okay. We have to assume that this is going to be more than $1,000. And now, if you do the math, assuming that you look at current prices, if you were to, convert it to euro to US dollar, it's 1167. Okay? 11 fucking 67. Let me make this even bigger so you can see what I'm talking about. Look at this. As mentioned, the leak price is, of course, in euros. Doing quick math, that would be around $1,167 when taking current currency conversion rates into account. However, Steam Tracker, now this is like the leak source, clarified that the new pricing code could be for the Steam frame. Yeah, sure. We're talking about the VR. Yeah, sure. But we don't know if it could be the frame. It could be a bundle with the Steam machine. It can be various permutations, right? But here's what we do know. We do know that the Steam Deck, which is why I held up this so-called very valuable machine. Keep in mind that Valve does not make LED models of this anymore. So if you're trying to go hella budget on trying to get a Steam Deck, first off, if you're trying to buy it new, you're not going to get it new in an LED form. You're going to get it in an OLED. And if we want to look at the prices of the OLED, oh my God. Let me show you the prices of the OLED, bro. Let me show you the prices of the OLED. When I show you the price of the OLED, you're going to go apeshit. Yeah, sorry. My computer's acting funny. Steam Deck OLED. Yeah, by the way, fuck Google. No offense. I have to use Google for work. It makes my life a little easier, but when it comes to my personal machine and I like to do searches, I use DuckDuckGo. I recommend that you do so that way you don't have to deal with a bunch of advertisements. But anyway, I digress. So yeah, there are articles that are up right now. If we go to Tom's Hardware, which is a pretty reputable source for technology, look at the fucking price. And this is what that other guy was talking about last night, right? If you want to get the 512 gigabyte, which is what this version is, and mind you, I bought this shit in 2023. Not even 2020. Yeah, I would say 2023. Right? And when I got this in 2023, 2024, I bought it for like 500 and change. 500 and change. It is now $789. And if you want a 1 terabyte, which is the most logical, to be honest with you, right? These days, the way that you're downloading games and how large the file sizes are, you might as well get yourself a 1 terabyte, right? That's $1,000 before tax, bro. Right? That is $1,000. You're going to end up before, and never mind accessories, right? Never mind the extra shit like a dock that you may want to buy because, yeah, the Steam Decks don't come with docks, right? I had to personally buy a dock. Shit, in fact, I'll show you. Yeah, this is a dock that I bought on Amazon, which is pretty fucking cool, to be honest with you, right? Like, if you get access to something like this, it's from some sort of Lisen, Lisen. Yeah, I dig this, right? Because first off, there's a fan, so it keeps the Steam Deck cool. and the IO is quite substantial, in my opinion, right? So you can plug in a lot of USB things. There's a SD port, right? Which means like if you have like these SD cards, like here, this is like a 256, you can expand the memory capacity of your Steam Deck. So when I got the Steam Deck and I got it at a 512, ultimately I said I have to end up buying, expandable memory. And I stumbled on a SD. And I got that, and it was a 256. And yeah, I've been using it as, extra memory. And keep in mind that the Steam Deck is basically a computer. I prefer to keep it in Linux form because I just think that having a Linux operating system is probably a cool thing to do. By the way, if you're on the fence of running Linux, I say don't knock it till you try it, because I think that Linux, A, removes all the bloat bullshit that you get from Windows 11, which I'm sadly using for this stream. And secondly, it's very customizable. And if you fear that you can't run Windows, there's this thing called Wine, and you can essentially run Windows applications natively on the Linux operating system. And the cool thing about Linux too is that there's so many distros or so many distributions of Linux, right? If you don't know really what the operating system is, think of it as like if Linux is like an onion, the layers of the onion are distros or different types of layers to that onion. So there's Ubuntu, there's, Chromium, right? The Steam operating system basically runs on Chromium, right? So there's a lot of like open source flexibility opportunities, like, for the same reason that you have Android users that dig it because, with their phones, it's so open source. You can run everything versus an iPhone that's very purposefully closed, right? Linux is the same thing. So why am I saying all this shit, right? Again, if you're looking at the fucking price at $1,000 for a Steam Deck, there is no fucking way in hell that the Steam machine is going to be less than $1,000. It is it is just not fucking going to happen. Which means bare minimum, it's going to be at least $1,200. So when I said $1,100 on the pod, which by the way, I was being conservative. Because that other guy was thinking even more, which could be true, by the way. I mean, let us not forget how expensive, like I said, the gaming market is. Let me scroll up for a second. Let's take a look, right? Because we acting like Steam Deck is the only player that essentially creates these handhelds. So if we go like handheld PCs for gaming, okay? Yeah, like let's keep it a buck. Why the fuck would I want to buy? Why the fuck would I want to buy a Steam Deck or even a Steam machine if I can just go and buy a better fucking version? Like, for instance, the Rogue Ally, right? The Rogue Ally has components that are just as superior, if not even better, than the Steam Deck. Look at this. 24 gigabytes of RAM, bro. With a 1 terabyte default. Okay? Versus, if we talk about the fucking Steam Deck, let's look at the specs on the Steam Deck OLED. Let's look at the specs. I love specs. Look at this shit. Default 16 of RAM. Right? With a Zen 2 CPU. using the AMD RDNA. Like, this is basically the APU for the Steam Deck, if you want to break it down. Okay. Look at the res, OLED, okay, and all this other shit that really doesn't fucking matter. Let me see something. When we look at the fucking display, right? What's the refresh rate? Right? 90 hertz, right? This is a FHD 120 hertz. So you have a much greater refresh rate. So all my Elden Ring fans, to our Forza Horizon fans, and everybody in between, this is the superior fucking device. And you know what's the funny part about this? Sure, it's a Windows device. But guess what you can do with a computer? You can fucking delete the operating system, put a Linux fucking distro on it, and run it like it's SteamOS anyway, because SteamOS is open sourced. And you'll have a far more superior device at the same price tag. And this is fucking Best Buy, by the way. Steam, Valve, I looked up to you as the beacon of, great, I don't have to fuck with Microsoft. I don't have to fuck with Nintendo. I don't have to deal with Sony. But nah, man. Because of market conditions, prices are going up. Yeah, man. We've been hearing that shit since post-pandemic, man. You know, I started this rant with the sentiment that everybody has a hobby, or if you don't, you should, because it's good for your mental health. We're getting priced out of the hobby. We're getting priced out of the hobby, man. And the evidence, like what you see on the screen, I mean, look. Look at the Lenovo Legion Go. Look at the price, man. Look at the price. This is on Walmart. This is $1,174, man. Look at it. We're getting priced out of the business of being hobbyists in gaming. I mean, look at the prices, console prices in general, right? Like, if we look at the console price list, and these are prices that are going to go up, if not already. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are pretty much, you know, we go to this article from Vice again. Look at this. Now, mind you, I bought my PS5 in 2022. Yeah, believe it or not, I had to wait 2 fucking years because of the pandemic, because of fucking scammers and scalpers, because of the, you know, supply chain shortage and all that shit. I had to wait 2 years. And when I got it, I got the digital edition like an idiot. I just didn't want to fork up the extra whatever. It's like kind of like ordering, you know, Uber Eats, but not tipping. I kind of did that for gaming, and I regret it. But nonetheless, look at the prices. When it first started in 2020, the PS5, look at this. The PS5 was $499. The edition was $399. This was at the start of its inception. Now, if we look at the first increase, and we're just looking at the PS5 right now, 2005, last year, cost of entry was $550. Digital edition, $500. The Pro, $750. Now, look at this past month. The Portal, which I think is the most pointless fucking device since the Switch Lite, is $249. The fuck? But that's not even the big issue. It's $649 for base. $900 for the Pro. Now, again, look at this and look at this. Do we see a issue here? Okay? And then if we look at gaming PCs, right? And I'm not even looking at customs, just pre-built. Look at the pre-builts. Go to Newegg. All right? Look at the prices. Look at this. What the fuck? A 5090 with 64 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM with a 2 terabyte Gen 5 NVMe SSD drive. It is fucking $6,000. And never mind this motherfucker with a goddamn liquid cooling setup. That's fucking $6,000 fucking dollars. What the fuck? Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. $7,500. You know, when I had my gaming PC, components and everything, that was a $1,700 machine. And I was running on 3080, RTX 3080, and I'm still running it because I cannot fucking afford no motherfucking 5090 or a 5070. Hell, a 4080 is kind of costly. And, you know, I'm going into a rabbit hole, but that's just how upset I am. Fucking son of a fuck. Look at this shit. Yes, I'm using profanity, and I'm going to because I need to illustrate the frustration of where we are in this hobby. Okay? Yeah. Let's look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. When the 5090 first came out at launch, the MSRP was $2K. We knew that going in. It's a well-demanded graphics card, okay? It's a well-demanded GPU. So obviously, you're going to have to spend some big bucks. But the market conditions, aka fucking AI, has raised the price where the best price you're going to get in the US to purchase said 5090 is $4,000. If we go to Amazon right now, the Gigabyte, the 5090 version, a 32 gigabyte 512-bit GDDR7, all right? And it has its own cooling system here, if you notice here. This motherfucker is $4,275, and there's just two in stock. Thank you for giving us some mercy. You're going to have to Klarna that bitch 4 ways and still have to pay as much as rent just to keep up. And I swear if you're using all of this graphics just to run your Claude, go fuck yourself too. Yes, I'm going in because that's how mad I am right now. Because as a person who is living, who's getting by, but fortunate, I'm very fortunate to be in a position where I can afford to live a lifestyle where gaming is a hobby that I can like dabble into. I am very blessed. I'm very fortunate. But this shit ain't right. This shit ain't right. This shit ain't right. Now, if you're in the GeForce family, but you need to go 5,000 level, which is kind of where I'm going to end up going very, very soon. Look at this. A 4090 is $3,500. I was low key planning on saving up as like a birthday gift for me next year. That was going to be my gift. I was going to gift myself a 4090 because I'm like, I'm not paying $5,000. I'll buy a car, a cheap ass hoopty, before I go and cop a 5090. I don't give a damn if all I'm playing is Forza Horizon 6, which if you haven't played, I love it. And if you really want to see me play, you should like and subscribe. I like to get on it now. All right. But anyway, point is, 34 motherfucking dollars. MSRP when it first came out was $1,600. And if you're into the Radeon vibes, the 9070 is $699. Mind you, this is like, 16 gigabytes of VRAM best. So it's very like economy based if you're playing that type of game. But still, I mean, if you want to go down this route, if you're looking at the 7900 RX, and then Intel, if you're very special to want to buy the ARC. I mean, I'm going to keep it a buck with you, though. I mean, Intel, I gave up on Intel a long time ago. When they lost the boat on AI, I'm like, man, I got to trust y'all motherfuckers with graphics cards. If they would have struck while the iron was hot and took the lead like AMD did with AI, they could have been like, their shit could have been so much better. And then what they're producing now is just ass. Very economy based. But do you see where I'm fucking going with all of this, people? Do you understand my argument here? Do you understand why I am irritable at 7:18 p.m. on May 29th, 2026? Do you know why I have been ranting for 30 damn minutes? Because it's just not fair. It's not fair, man. It's not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair that we have to be in a position now where I gotta figure out, like, yo, do I not travel this year? Do I go to less concerts? Do I buy less records? Do I eat out less? Like, what do I have to cut out of my social life that provides self-care to me outside of the bare essentials, which is to have a roof over my head, to have food in my belly, to have clothing on my back, to have shoes on my feet? Outside of that, like, what the fuck do I have to cut? And I don't think that's fair. And I think that if you are a part of this sentiment, you can understand 100% how I am feeling at the moment. You can totally understand. You can totally understand why I'm upset. You can totally understand why I am just angry right now, because it just doesn't fucking make any sense. Actually, it does make sense. I just don't want to comprehend it because it's not fucking fair. It's not fair that it has to be this way because, because of market conditions. Whatever the fuck that means. Oh, man, if we want to go into a definitions conversation about what market conditions is, I would not get off this stream. I would be pulling a Cory Booker and talking for like 26 hours. Because that's how much it annoys me. But no, I'm pissed off. I'm pissed all the way off. And I think, that other guy made an argument last night. He made a statement that I agree with, but it's even getting harder to do. And that is, you go back to retro gaming, but I don't know about that. I think that first off, I 100% agree with you, that other guy. What do you think I'm fucking doing? But here's the problem. When you're even getting priced out of that world, it becomes very difficult. And I said it before, and I will say it again. And it's not just gaming. This is just a representation, another example of just the world writ large. You know, that anything that you enjoy, you don't get real possession of it. They want you to own nothing and enjoy it. That's the narrative. That's the argument. That's the fucking game. And to be honest, that's all I have to say. Now, if you can excuse me, I want to eat a roast beef sandwich from this nearby shop that makes really good roast beef sandwiches. And that other guy knows exactly where and what I'm talking about. So I'm going to self-care myself. I'm going to give myself some self-love right now. I'm going to take care of myself. I'm a happy motherfucker nonetheless. Like, this is upsetting me, but I will live to see another day, right? I will go outside and touch some grass. And when I do, I'm going to get a roast beef sandwich. And then I'm going to figure out how I'm going to financially afford a 5090. How am I going to find $4,000, bro? Even if I wanted to go down this route, how and why? You know? Thank God I have a gaming machine that's relatively decent. This? What's the point of having this when you can have that? Why? 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 Why, Steam Deck? Why? I love you. You know? This is hard to get. You know why? Because they stopped fucking selling it. They don't sell this anymore. Nor the 512. Steam. Valve. You're like Fredo from The Godfather. You're like the younger brother that Vito Corleone had to like hold his face on Godfather Part 2 and kissed him and hold his brother and said, "You broke my heart. You sold out. You tried to get me killed. You tried to kill your own family. Steam, Valve, you're killing your own family. You're breaking my heart, Fredo. I have to kiss you and disown you." And you know what ended up happening to Fredo? If you haven't watched the whole movie, yeah, he dies. And if you haven't watched The Godfather, go outside or go inside and do something and go see that film in its canon. Arguably the better version. I mean, some people say that Godfather 1 is the best version. But anyway, I digress. The point is Steam, you broke my heart. Gaming, you're giving me way too much stress that I need. And you're getting me to a point where I may just have to say fuck this hobby and really go homebrew on other forms of gaming, which you can see on my channel. But yeah, I'm going to go get that roast beef sandwich. Get your hands on deck. Fuck that. It's not going to happen, man. No one's buying this. Actually, people will buy this. Of course they will. I mean, the Steam Deck is a great machine. But at what cost, right? At what cost do we have to deal with this? At what cost do we have to like succumb to $789, $949, near $1,000? Seriously, $1,000 damn dollars to play Fortnite? Man, good night. I'll see y'all later. I'll probably get on soon to play some Forza Horizon 6, contribute to the AAA disaster that is modern gaming. Be well.